Well, hello and welcome. Today we're looking at the election 2016 political campaign as it's coming to a wrap up. So you're just looking at the campaign, the intensity and strategies of their campaign. Some of them are quite weird. I mean, as we're all in opposition, they are just bashing another opposition party as if to say that's the target. And then we're looking at those who are assigning to other political parties why their members say, no, we are not going to go with you. It's been quite interesting. And then this idea where one political party goes to this town and as soon as they leave, the other one goes there. And as soon as they leave, the other one goes there. Are they ever going to wrap up this campaign? Even though it started quite late, you will agree with me, it has been quite intense and interesting. How is it and how has it been for you? You at home need to join into this conversation. Indeed, today it's really an analysis and a conversation. My name is Nana Sakwal the Fourth. This is PM Express. When I come back, we are talking campaign and all things to it. Hello, and thank you very much for staying. And with me in the studio is my own brother, Fred Odro, who's a governance analyst. Are you a lecturer?
Yeah, I teach.
Ah, good. I have a soft spot for teachers.
Oh.
I think it's a very
it's supposed to be a noble.
Yeah, noble profession, isn't it?
Honorable.
A noble calling.
Honorable is not dangerous, then otherwise I'll be in trouble.
You see now?
So,
you see now, there's noble and it's honorable to teach. Freddie, you're welcome.
Thank you, Nana.
But today we're just, looking. I think the campaigning somehow, did not gain momentum early enough as, the usual. But once it did, my God, it's been heavy. And I don't know what the strategy is. It's like, as soon as the president leaves, Bronga Hartford and Ado is there. As soon as he leaves, the chief of staff go there. As soon as chief of staff leave, Baumia goes there. And then they hit the Volta region and it's the same yo. I don't know what, as a governance person, holistically, what are you seeing?
I'm seeing a very interesting development. Now, one good thing I'm seeing is that electorates are not being taken for granted any longer. Politicians are coming to the realization that electorates are the kingmakers. And if you take the electorate for granted, you have X in your face. So they are going around, they're crisscrossing one another, they're saying all manner of things. And it's very good. It's by and large, larger part of the process has been quite healthy. There are a few bad incidences here and there, but it's been very healthy exercise. You see that everybody is working hard. People have set up teams. The ruling party has got 3-4 teams working at a time. The main opposition party has got the flag bearer is working on one hand, the vice presidential candidate is also working on the other side. Occasionally they come around, they work together as a team, they split. Yesterday, I understand, I'm not 100%. I understand Dr. Baumia was in Central Region for a regional rally. Mind you, he was in Bronha barely some 4 days or so ago. And he went to Volta region, he went to Central region, he's gone back to Bronha. And I asked myself, how are they getting their stamina? Today I was listening to the president in Cape Coast and I could barely hear a word. His voice has gone hoarse. it tells you that they are working. And I am happy. It is giving me a signal that politicians are not taking the people for granted. They go into them, they're asking, they are trying to disseminate their message. And I think, like I said earlier, the message has been positive. Everybody is trying to say, this is what I can do. Of course, there are a few jabs here and there. And there are some things that I wish have not been said. But, hey, it's not too bad. And don't forget that in addition to this, the other key parties, the other contestants, at one stage, I understand the president was in Western region. That's it. I think last weekend, the president was in the Western region. Dr. Indium was in the Western region. Mr. Jacob Osayabwa was in the Western region. At the same time, Nana Akufo-Addo Rawlings has been going about, also campaigning vigorously. I am not too sure. Maybe following the various reportage, I'm not seeing too much of Dr. Edward Mahama. The last I checked, he was in the northern part of the country to launch their manifesto. Yeah. Since then, sincerely, I'm not an authority on where everybody is, but I can't recall hearing about Dr. Mahama. But the rest of them, and I have to say, Mr. Greenstreet is also doing a fantastic work. He was in the northern part of the country, and he was so visible, working very hard. So it's been a very good exercise. Sincerely, with the exception of Dr. Mahama, who I'm not
just drawn my attention to it because
I think the rest of them have been very active. So I mean the NDC, followed closely by the MPP, Dr. Indium and his PPP, together with I'll put Dr. Indium and CPP, Mr. Greenstreet, APA, Nana Akufo-Addo Rawlings is following there, Jacob Osayabwa is there also, and well, PNC and Dr. Mahama. But I wish I could see more of Dr. Mahama.
On that note, there's this short clip. Let's just watch it and then we'll continue the conversation.
Really delighted to be here in Cape Coast to inaugurate one of the most important projects that is not only dear to my heart, but was also dear to the hearts of my mentor and comrade, Professor John Evans Atta Mills, of blessed memory. All sectors of our country, with our focus firmly fixed not just on people and all sectors of our country. We are firmly focused on the future, and we have worked as a government by investing in all critical sectors in order to secure our nation's socio-economic prosperity.
Ghana back on one sem chese ye de sabe kam wrong afo no na ne saka Ghana 2008 e ka say anka me fro here 2012 the mo amunim dey say 2016 I am premier sam me pre Ghana begwe me shrabo wrong afo man sinyane fo mo fama ho de meta meti mo be boa me na mo peja me na me kontra me Ghana so na me be mo abato aba Mufra kente bi wo ho me share hwenyua sa mo bo fenfem so ka ho sa.
When you look at the ballot paper, see me in kente wearing my glasses and my unavoidable mustache. Next to the picture, you will find the red sun which represents the PPP. So you would vote for two suns, one for president and the other for MP, for the change we need.
Well. We all have the president's voice there, and as you say, it tells you that he's worked, and kudos to him. Yeah. Kudos to him. He has worked. He hasn't taken the complacency of incumbency at all. But one thing I wanted to find out, Fred, is the quality of electorate. I was listening somewhere. I don't know who was telling me this over the weekend, that out of the 15 million people on the ballot box who are eligible to vote,
the rule.
Yeah, probably 7 million can read and write. Out of the 7 million who can read and write, half of them will be functional illiterate. They've actually gone to school but can't read and write. It brings you to 3.5. Now he did some analysis and he got down to literally 1 million people who will actually sit down and can scrutinize and analyze and understand the full concept. You can't buy their votes. You know, they are the Freds who are there. You won't take 5 cities and go and vote for anybody. You're scrutinizing and analyzing their promises to see is it even feasible. So he narrowed it down to 1 million. So there were 14 million people left who are a bit shaky. So what's the quality of electorate?
You see, Nana, various things inform decisions to vote individually. The two main parties would agree that they have their core supporters. It is natural in every democracy. Here, being let me say, educated in quotes or not educated might not be too important. However, again, you see, in political communication, it is incumbent upon the political players to disseminate their messages. If I was having a discussion with a colleague and he was drawing my attention, for a while people will say, oh, these parties should come out with their manifestos, these parties will come, why are they not bringing their manifestos and all that. You see, I have had opportunity to discuss various political manifestos, party manifestos, and virtually you go on key programs, each party gets 1, 2, 3. Some parties' manifestos are never even discussed. So I think the political parties are becoming savvy. They know the people they are sending their message to. Some have done well too. And here, without being accused of anything, let me congratulate the MPP. They've simplified their messages. One factory, one that. One this, one that. One this, one that. So you see, if you know the people you are sending your message to, it's very important to simplify your message in a manner that the people you want to send your message to can actually assimilate and appreciate what you say. Now, we have the various parties. Nana, if I should quiz you as a teacher, what is the core message of, say, PNC? You may have some difficulty.
Yeah.
So it's very important that you distill you couch your messages in a way that the people can understand. You see, the 1 million.
Operation Feed Yourself was a 600-page document.
See, but they reduced it to Operation Feed Yourself. And it's all to do with backyard gardening.
But, you know, it was a 600-page document.
See, so it's very important. I think we need more political communicators. I don't mean party communicators. We need people who can actually take bulky documents, reduce it to simple messages that can be sold to everybody. So that when somebody says, what does this party stand for? You can say, you see, I think the last election, 2012, the MPP was able to come up with free SHS. So simple and straightforward. And that became the focus of that election. Notwithstanding the fact that MPP lost that election. But if you want to talk about issue-based campaigning, I think political parties should learn to couch their messages in the most simplest form as possible.
Now, my next one was, we'll come back to the campaigning, but one of the biggest or one of the most obvious yardstick has been the American democracy. Even in America, even in America, even in America. Now, what's going to be our yardstick?
As a people, our yardstick, I suspect, is going to be who can appeal to the needs of the people. You see, in this current election, the economy is a critical issue. The NDC has done very well focusing on infrastructure. But you realize that all the key parties, and here let me say, the MPP, the PPP, the CPP, the focus of their message has been jobs. So it's compelled the NDC, which is the ruling government, because everybody, well, they are attacking each other, especially other parties are attacking MPP as well. But everybody is talking about jobs. So the government has come up to say that, well, I'm going to create 3 million jobs in the next election. So you realize that jobs is what is currently going on.
I saw a sign on the ring road that said, I got a job when the interchange was being built, you know. So if we have to add jobs into the infrastructure.
So Nana, that tells you how in this particular election jobs has come on the fore. You realize also that there are other issues out there. Even this trainee allowances, these issues have come up. And when you talk about jobs, Papa Kusindio, he say, look, if you want the real Ejumara, I'm the real Ejumara. I've got, I'm creating job in every district in the country, which is true, because Yen Bank is all over the country. So if the government is now also trying to take center stage in the issue concerning jobs, so this, excuse me, this particular election, jobs is going to be the key. Now, coming back, looking at the American experience, you realize, excuse me.
Oh, drink some water.
Even with the American experience, you realize that jobs were critical in their election. The economy is a critical issue. So no matter where you go, the economy, particularly jobs, will always be the fulcrum around which all other issues will emanate.
See, one thing which, I don't know, I think the NDC has gone very heavy on infrastructure. Is it that they didn't pick the signals that, listen, the people were hungry and probably would have needed food rather than runways and interchanges? Because, you know, I was talking to the wife and I said, you know what, not today, but some time to come, we will come back and use these interchanges and airports and glorify Mahama, even though now people may chastise him. But maybe they should have, you know, created more jobs. I don't know. Should they have created more jobs rather than infrastructure? I don't know. How would they have balanced it?
Well, my take on that is, you see, first and foremost, you realize that in most situations, people will want to look at their livelihoods above all other things. Because if you're not working, no matter where you live, you see, you go to the most advanced economies, people who are not working or they are having lower pay will always complain. No matter what exists in the economy, people are having, go to the developed countries like in Germany or in UK, people may have free housing where their welfare system may be supporting them. But for as long as they are looking for jobs that they are not getting, no matter the infrastructure that exists, the first thing anybody wants is give me good infrastructure. Mind you, if you look in our economy, say, look, let's look at the middle class. You go to most parts of Accra, where the middle class live, the roads are bad. But the person might be able to afford, say, a 4-wheel drive. So no matter how bad the road is, because the person can afford a 4-wheel drive, because the person can build a tall wall and put some security around it, the person might not be too worried about security issues. But then make that person, same person, who's got a 4-wheel drive, lose the 4-wheel drive or lose the job where he cannot afford to use a 4-wheel drive. You see, the person will go on the street to demonstrate against you. So no matter what, infrastructure is critical, it's important. But jobs, because a person's livelihood, you see, if you touch anything about anyone, you see, the person's first security, their health, their livelihood, these are critical things to any person.
See, CDD came up with, there'd been a few surveys, and each time jobs came up, jobs. However, the government has gone heavy on infrastructure. Look, sometimes as a leader, what your people want is not necessarily what they want. And I use my little republic as a... Everybody comes in
Republic of
Edumasa. Just give me one rope. And I'm saying no. Until we professionally demarcate this land, I'm not selling. Now I'm always on the throne for 6 years and I haven't sold the plot. So there's a lot of pressure from my people. And I'm saying, unless it's professionally demarcated, we are not selling. The people too are saying, look, as a leader, I just think that no, my thing is, my decision is the right thing. So translating into the bigger picture, I mean, he sat there at Flagstaff House and he probably see that, listen, the hospitals, the schools, the roads and everything now is more needed. And we are down here also shouting jobs. So he could probably take a decision, as I am taking for my people, that I don't care whether you need a land today or not. Unless I'm done, you're not buying it. I mean, could that be a decision that the president is taking?
No, first and foremost, mind you, your position, you are not holding an electable position. So it gives you a lot of leeway to sit back and look at things holistically, to make decisions that have far-reaching effects. I am all for what you're doing. But coming back to the president, you see, sometimes, I also think that our political leaders may not see the full reality. Because for me, I believe sincerely that jobs should supersede anything. Whatever we are going to do, it's good to build infrastructure. Infrastructure can also create some level of jobs. But then we're looking at how long. I mean, circles taking about 2-3 years. I'm not too sure to build. Which caliber of persons were employed in that? You see, let's face some realities in our country. For the first time in our history, we having doctors who are coming out of medical schools and they are not guaranteed jobs. And for me, that is not good enough. We are having teachers, nurses, saying we are looking for jobs. I mean, these were 3 categories of jobs that you were almost guaranteed employment immediately after school. And then remember that our universities are training hundreds of thousands of people every year. Our universities, public, private, our polytechnics, they're all training our people. So the job market is becoming saturated. So if the government doesn't take immediate steps towards absorbing some of these people, why do you getting into the election? Some people are being recruited here and there. But it's not enough. Because it's not even good for the security of the country if we keep having more graduates coming up and not getting jobs. So whatever decision the government is taking concerning building of anything, I think the creation of jobs should supersede everything. Because the creation of jobs by itself stimulates the economy. People have got more purchasing power. People can buy more things. You can produce more because there is a market for it. There are more people who can afford to buy these things. So it causes a ripple effect. So job creation should be the center stage of any economic decision that any government should take.
And I think the opposition parties have really latched onto this.
Wow, they are smart. All of them. All of them. Especially Papa Kwesi. And even if I am not too sure. I believe the NPP manifesto is also, I mean, the focal point is jobs or something. And Papa Kwesi say, I am a Jumera.
I've started doing it already.
I'm already doing it. So give it to me and I'll do more. So it's critical. I mean, from last week, going to my workplace around the Tekwasi area, I started seeing this. The government has also seen that people are taking the space, so the government has also stepped in there to also come in to say that, look, we are already creating jobs. Like they say, change is already happening. So you see, it's a critical issue that needs to be looked at. And I think if the government cannot win the argument on job creation, it will not be too good for them.
With the way the campaign is going, do you think Ghana will create any third force, or even maybe let me remove the force, but create a third something, third small something?
Oh, let's go with the third force. You see, our smaller parties are too splintered. And when you are expecting that they will be seeking to come together, they seem to be falling apart the more. We have always known CPP and PNC are supposed to be inchromized. They come from the same stock. Since the beginning of this democratic thing, they failed to come together. Suddenly, Papa Kwesi, who was a bright star in the CPP, moves out and he goes away with a chunk of the people. So if you study the trend, analysis of PNC, CPP, and now you throw in PPP, their votes are going down and down and down until they decide to come together. I don't think they can make any meaningful impact. Every poll I have seen suggests these parties are not going to make any impact. And I think they have to sit back. It's very important to have that. Even if you're going to command 5, 6, 7%, it's a powerful figure, political
kingmaker.
figure. You make the king. And you can use that as bargaining chip to tell whoever you're going to support, look, if you are going to do A, B, C, I'll throw my weight behind you.
I want us to continue on that, because that's one thing which I don't hear the small parties going. Everybody can say, oh, I'll win one touch, I'll win one touch. And it makes it difficult to take them serious.
That's delusional.
We're coming straight back. Well, thank you very much for staying, and keep your messages coming on 0560 800 000, 0560 800 000. Send your WhatsApp. I really need you to be part of this conversation. Indeed, if there's any campaign around you and if you think it should have been tweaked or if it's perfect, let us know. But let me remind you that, did you know that there is more to choosing an airline for your travel than just the fare? That safety, reliability, and comfort play a role in choosing your airline. Then Africa World Airlines is here to offer you that and more. AWA now flies 2 times daily to Takoradi with morning departures at 6 a.m. and evening at 4:20 p.m. Enjoy comfort, seamless, reliable, and secure airline services for 200 cities one way. We also fly Tamale 4 times daily, Kumasi 5 times daily, Lagos, Nigeria 2 times daily. For tickets and reservation, call us on 0242 438 888, 0242 438 888. You can call the toll-free number on 0800 200 200. 0800 200 200. You can visit them on the website www.flyawa.com.gh and pay with your Visa, MasterCard, or at any Zenith, Capital Bank, UBA, and EcoBank branches nationwide. Fly the fastest means of transportation and the safest with AWA. And I must say, the pilots, because speed power, I think Kumasi is 25 minutes instead of the usual 45. They clear it in 25 minutes. So the gas, as the old say, or gasipa. So fly AWA if you are looking to fly anytime soon. Cheap, fast, reliable, and comfortable. Let me get this. This is from Chris Elemas in Wa Krachi from Bando. It says, good evening, Nana. Please ask the man there for me that if the hospitals, schools, factories, etc. are not built, what will create the jobs? He used doctors, teachers, etc. as an example. The doctors are not getting the jobs because there are no new hospitals. The schools to employ these people he's talking about. The bottom line is that it is only these massive infrastructure that will propel employment. That's for you.
Well, unfortunately, I'm not here to argue with the texter. But if you want to look at factors that will support the creation of employment, indeed, it's not even the government alone that must create employment. But then the government has a duty to support the creation of employment. It includes the stability of the currency against international currency. It also includes the availability of moderately priced electricity. Which, I mean, the electricity must be available for a start, and the pricing must also be competitive. Even the cost of doing business in the country. These are all critical issues that would affect how many jobs can be created within an economy. So there are various issues involving the creation of jobs. But when we even talk about the role, you see, teachers, I mentioned the example of doctors because, please, texter, trust me, I've been around a bit, and we know that in the history of this country, becoming a doctor is no joke. So if somebody completes medical school and that person cannot get a job in this country, I think we get into a different level that we've never seen before. So let us look at this. It doesn't matter who is going to win the election. It is an issue that must be addressed. It is not. I'm not here talking politics. I'm talking about the issues that are available, that are prevailing for us to look at. So that's what I would say.
Okay, but now let's go to one of the things which I find intriguing is the smaller parties, if I may say or call them, who will say, "Oh, I'll win hands down. I'll win one touch. Oh, the people are behind me. You should see them." And sometimes I wonder, why don't you go for the 5% which you said and use it as a bargain chip that, listen, these are my 10 policies, and the first 5, I'm not negotiating. If you want my support, you need to do this in education, do this in agriculture, and I'll give you my vote. I don't know. Is it unwise to do that politically?
I think sometimes I find some parties being a bit delusional. They are not being realistic. You see, here are parties that are consistently losing their grip, even in parliament. Once upon a time, I think PNC had about four members of parliament, and CPP had at least 3. I do remember Papa Kwesindiom was there, the former deputy speaker, who is now the acting chairman of MPP. I mean, the two Nzima seats, as well as KEA, were held by the CPP. And the PNC was having about 4 in some parts of the northern and upper west region. Now, PNC has only 1 seat, which is they are in danger of losing in the current election. CPP has got a seat that they only won in a by-election, because when the parliament started, they didn't have a seat. Instead of these parties being realistic, I quite like a point that Kokubakun always says, that as a member of the CPP, he believes that the party should start thinking about building the party through the parliamentary group by ensuring they can get more seats. And you can do this by even bargaining with some of the parties that, look, we will support you with your presidential candidate. Can you seat these 3-4 seats for us? You do political bargaining and you build your party up. Now already they are splintered. Instead of coming together, they are splintered. So I think they are not, they think they have to, some egos must go down among these parties. The parties that claim to be incompromised, they should bring down their egos. They should sacrifice some self-interest and look at the larger picture. Otherwise, we're not going to get the kind of democracy we need. Because if these parties are strong, it will be good for the country. They can come up with good policies. They can stop a government or a party from acting in a way, because they say, look, if you do this, we're not going to support you. And it will be good for the country.
Bring down impunity, basically. You know, you can bring down impunity, because sometimes some certain bills go through Parliament and come out. You wonder how they went in the first place, let alone how they came out. And if you had a third group, 10 strong, not thinking the same, you know, MPs could say, no, we're not going with this. It could bring a lot of checks and balances. But how would this seem to the electorate if, let's say, PPP or CPP came and said, listen, I know I'm not going to get the presidential candidate, but I need 3% from you or 5% from you, and whoever comes to bargain, this is what I'm bargaining with. I mean, I don't know, what if you're not going to win, then why are you running?
No, you started with that, your 1 million votes. When we started the program, you alluded to some people already having taken their stance. But there are some savvy people out there who would want to have a stronger check. Already, if you look at our parliamentary system that we have, our parliament is somewhat weak. The executive has got too much power. And part of the difficulty we are having with our parliament is because the ruling party seems to be having the majority in terms of members of parliament. Ever I'm praying for a day that whoever is the president doesn't have a majority in parliament. Then we will have real democracy in this country. There will be proper checks and balances. As of now, I mean, there are no checks on there's very little check on the executive. Parliament is not as strong as we hope it could be. So if we are having people who come up and say that, okay, we are together, we are working solid, we're going to ensure that little things are properly looked after. So give us your vote. We know we'll not win the presidency, but we need to put about 10 people in parliament who will serve as a check. Or perhaps they may not even win the presidency, but they can force elections to go into runoffs. And they will say that, look, we will support whoever will agree to do A, B, C, D. And then I think, for instance, we keep talking about Galamsey and its associated problems. And as of now, I haven't heard any of these major parties.
No, you dare not.
Talking about Galamsey the way it should be talked about.
Regularize it,
we'll
register them.
A serious menace staring us in the face, and they are not talking about it.
Let me catch up with some of your messages. 0560-800-000. Keep your messages coming. This is Shipman in Atonso Nana. I think the MPP and their candidate Nanado have packaged their message very well, and I am obsessed with the one district, one factory. Ghana deserves a big thinking leader, and change is must. This one says, Nana, Ghanaians have made up their minds months ago. The issue is the economy. NDC, whether John Mahama or Mills, it's been 8 years, and the subtle attempt by the NDC to make Ghanaians believe that it's all about 4 years won't wash. Again, Ghanaians have embraced the convention of giving any party, regardless of what you do, 8 years. It's dangerous to allow any political party to break that. 8 years is all we can offer any party, else the politicians will kill us. Change is good for everyone, including NDC. Something in Ho. This 8-year culture too, I think we have to touch on it. This is Mohammed. Hold on. This is Mohammed from Damongo, Ghana. Has lack of jobs under JM and NDC government. Let's give Nanado the chance to manage our economy for you. Change is a must. Good evening, Nana. In 2012, when I got the ballot paper to vote for the first time, I realized the power I had as a voter. In this year's election is about jobs versus infrastructure. The government is busy commissioning projects, and as to whether that's what Ghanaians want at the time, we would see on December 7th. Berima Etuahene in KUNST. I like that. Jobs versus infrastructure. Nana, I'm very grateful for reading my message. Okay, this is Chris LMS. Chris, keep your messages coming and I will read them for you. As for me, some of my colleagues, as for me and some of my colleagues, we are voting based on employment, not any other thing. Because I completed university since 2012, it's difficult to even get employment. I don't think NDC and Mahama administration will get my endorsement come December 7th. Abraham Nanyine, I can pronounce it well, but pardon me. Jobs versus infrastructure. This 8-year cycle thing. I mean, if the government is good, why not 16 years? Keep them there. If they are moving on, why do you want to change?
Well, no, there are some democracies that parties have been in power for 50 years. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I do not care whether it's 8 years. If you come in and for 20, 50 years you're doing well, you should be kept in there. But if you don't do well and after 4 years, you should be kicked out. It's as simple as that. So that is why the framers of the Constitution said 4 years. But so that every party knows you're going to give account of your stewardship. 4 years, you go back to the people. And your mandate is either renewed or you are kicked off. So this 8 years thing doesn't wash with me. It must be, if you are doing well, you are kept. If you are not doing well, you are kicked.
You see, do you think Mahama will one day sit and make Kwame Nkrumah's statement that if I knew that you wanted milk, I would have piped milk to your houses? You know, where, you know, he was building harbors and everything, and there were people complaining about sardines. You know, but he knew that, listen, motorway was better, the dam was better, Tema was better. These things are better for us. And there were people running and saying, yepe sardine, yepe corned beef, and all that stuff. And else he's sitting in Guinea thinking, Jesus Christ, I should have just bought sardines for these people and carry on developing. I mean, is Mahama going to sit down one day and think, my God, I should have just gone into production and given these guys jobs rather than this vision I had, building 200 schools? Phenomenal. Roads, hospitals, airports, phenomenal. But here we are. So look, I finished university, I can't get a job, therefore I don't care about your interchange or your runway.
Nana, the greatness of Nkrumah has withstood the test of time. However, you can't say that everything that Dr. Nkrumah did was perfect. As a human being, he had his foibles. He made his mistakes. I don't think President Nkrumah was overthrown because he failed to build harbors. And if those who were there would tell you that things were better in those days, without question. However, the issue is, you see, we are in a democracy. I have this belief, I mean, in local governance, or even in governance, we have the concept of participation. You see, you might go to a community intending to do something for them. And if you go, it's important to engage the people to know what they want. Even if you want to bring something to them, convince them that what you want to bring is good. Otherwise, the people will never take ownership of whatever you are taking in there. So the issue is that you are the leader. You believe there are things your people need. But engage your people, get their views as to what they really need. It is when you are able to meet their needs that they will see you as a great leader. It is not what you do. Yes, it's great. Now, I look back, I was in Yendi some time back, and somebody was just showing me some projects that are champion. You know, a champion is one of the most vilified leaders we've ever had in this country. But now, you talk about infrastructure. Can you leave a champion out?
No. History has dealt him a big blow.
He built the pond dam.
And extended the
Today I heard somebody trying to say the pond dam was built by Nkrumah. And I said, no. A champion built the pond dam.
And extended Akosombo Dam.
We are today talking about building estate houses and other things. A champion was building estate houses. A champion built stadiums.
Dansumana, Medina.
So, Nana, if it is just these, a champion ruled without the permission of the people. He wasn't consulting the people. So all these great things he did, we are not talking about them today because we thought he never ruled without consent. The consent of the people goes beyond election. Get the views of people. Know what people want. And do it for them. That is where you will gain their support no matter how difficult the situation is. I think that is what our leaders are missing at the moment.
Because of our polarization, you see, it comes, I mean, like these polls. If the polls come and is against NPP, they issue a statement. If the polls come and is against it, they issue a statement. And sometimes I even wonder, why do you attack? It's just a poll. I mean, it's not a prediction. It's not set in stone. But they get very upset when you come and say, oh, this guy is going to lose by that percentage. And therefore, if I went out there today and I came and said, oh, well, this ABCD is what the people are talking about, whoever is in power gets upset. Oh, no.
Yesterday, following the media, I came across two incidents. Somebody attacked Benefson so bad, and Benefson lost his cool. I wish he wouldn't lose his cool the way he did. I seriously appreciated where he was coming from, but I think he's also an old guy in this field. He knows how these politicians behave, so he should have kept his cool. Then another person also attacked Dr. Usu Mensah. And the person, even I was shocked to my bone. As an academic, somebody was insulting this man, saying, oh, another person from the department had come out to say that the poll was not sanctioned, even though the head of department has issued a statement and said, yes, the department sanctioned the poll, and so there's confusion, so the poll is bad. I say, I know somebody will throw something against me as I sit here. But I think it's time also people in civil society don't cede the political space to the politicians. People should go ahead with their polls. I mean, polls are not election. Like you say, my mouth is not be gone.
You know.
If I say you lose, it doesn't mean you've lost. If you don't believe my poll, say I don't believe it and go ahead.
But the
Don't
funny
insult
thing
me.
is, maybe you asked me today, and for one reason I wanted to vote A. But in 2 weeks' time, something may happen and I decide to vote B. And that's what all the polls is about. But let me say thank you so much, Mr. Frederick Dro, who's been very, very kind to us, always responding to our call when governance issues arises. But somebody sent a message, it's gone. It says, Nana, tell them to close the betting shops because that's where violence normally begins. My brother, I don't even know why Ghana should allow betting shops. As illiterate as we are and as we are struggling with our schools, now we're encouraging betting. But I hear somebody's brought this machine to Edumasa. If I get there and I catch him, he's in trouble. 024-366-2001, 024-366-2001. Tanti's my shirts for the show. Give them a call. But tomorrow we're back to do this all over again. Thank you for watching and thank you so much, Fred.
Thank you.